Okay, so now that we've glued our tab down or our strap down, we are going to stick it, double-sided tape it onto our main. So I can put some double-sided tape down. Notice I'm just doing it once again in dashy pieces where it needs to be, just to hold it in place while I sew in the main points of movement. And I'm going to place it against my facing. Put my facing down, put that down on top of it. Make sure I've got enough space around it. Make sure I'm not missing anything all the way around. And then it's as easy as edge stitching around. When you edge stitch around though, make sure it's a large edge stitch. So in the sense that make sure it's at least 2.5, 3 mils away from the edge, so that when you trim it back underneath, that you won't be able to, from the right side, you won't see any of this raw coming through. Almost went right over the edge. Now I've also noticed that a few of you have been struggling when you go to back pedal to reverse to get that less or half a stitch or a quarter of a stitch, that your needle is bowing a little bit. So if it's going through a thickness or a density of leather, it will do that. So you just need to find that place that you need to go to and release that pedal a little bit so that it goes in smoother. I know it's a trick, but yeah, otherwise what you'll find is you'll probably start breaking needles, especially when you're going through chunky. Okay. And the next thing we need to do, now that we've done our edge stitch all the way around, is trim it back. Okay, so I'm going to trim back that excess there as close as we can to our stitching without cutting our stitching all the way through, so that it's not seen from this side, so that it's concealed. Snips, which probably aren't the best things to use, but just keep going around and trimming to make sure when you see from this side that it's not visible from the right true side. So the last thing you want is to see this ugly edge coming through. Spend some time to get it correct, because it is important. It's not visible. Okay, now that we know what we know about this tab, can we see how what we've just done, mine's a bit hacky, you want to make it a nice smooth, use your scissors, not your snips, and make it a nice smooth line. Can you see how that process can be used on a collar up here? So if you've got a lapel or a collar, how you can use that on the edge. So that would be your top, and then underneath, instead of having that seam coming back into itself, you can do this version, having that underneath. It can be used, like I said, on straps. It can be used as a waistband. You can do that version on your waistband as well. There's lots of ways you can apply this method, because what it's done is it's removed one layer of your bulkage, so it's much thinner and easier to use. So yep, so many applications for this. Flaps is another one. Pocket flaps is a great one to be able to use this method with. So yeah, so that's it, the end of your tabs or your straps.